Wow, okay. That is all there is to a controller. You have a PCB, a bunch of wires, and some buttons. Hello and welcome to another NihongoGamer video. Today I'm going to be turning this $2 plastic box into an arcade stick. Well, not quite an arcade stick, but sort of a hitbox style arcade stick. So as you know on this channel, I'm a big fan of things like these. These are arcade sticks with levers, but also over time I've been sent controllers like this. This is a button-based controller known as the mix box, where you have up, down, left, right controllers like a keyboard on the left, and you have buttons on the right, or vice versa if you're left-handed. But when I went to EVO Japan in 2020, I actually got a chance to try one of these hitbox style controllers, and it's very similar to this, but instead of pressing up to jump on a keyboard style controller, you press a jump button with your thumb down here. On a keyboard, that's where the spacebar would be. Now before we start, I just want to say this is absolutely not a guide. This is not a tutorial on how to do this. This is simply, I happen to have some free time, a plastic box, and some products that Brook has sent to me. Now I knew I wanted to do a project like this when I spoke to Brook, so I asked them if they would provide products for making this video. So I didn't buy these products, they're provided by Brook. This is the Universal Fighting Board. This is the one that will supposedly work on PlayStation 4, Switch, and Xbox and PC. And the other products provided by Brook are these. They are cables, it's a fighting board cable and a hitbox cable. Now the thing is, you can actually make these cables by yourself as long as you've got a large amount of wire and you've got these quick disconnects. The main things that I've got that I think I'm gonna need, and I might find out halfway through the project that I've not got enough parts. I've got the box that we're going to be using to create the controller. Got the PCB, which is going to connect the buttons to the console or the PC that is going to be running the game. Got the cables that are going to be connecting the buttons to the PCB, and also buttons. Now these are buttons that I actually went and purchased myself. They're Gamer Fingers. I don't actually know if Gamer Finger is still making these buttons, but I went and I got these about a year ago when I was shopping around in Tokyo at the arcade parts store. We need a layout, so I went and took the layout from the Hitbox website, or at least I think this is from the Hitbox website. Again, I do actually plan on getting a Hitbox one day, but until that day happens, I may as well just get used to the actual Hitbox layout. And last but not least, we need some tools. This is the cheapest drill I could find on the internet, and I've got one of these. This is hopefully going to be the right size. It's a drill bit, which is going to drill circular holes. And if they're not the right size, I've also got a Dremel, so I can kind of root out the circles and make them bigger, or I guess I can't make them smaller, or I'll be making them bigger with this. Now my first point of concern is actually, this box is a $2 box from Daiso. You can kind of bend the plastic quite easily. The first thing I want to do is I want to trace this hitbox layout onto this plastic here. All right, so first thing I need to do is I need to get this design on here. Cut some paper like so. And let's cut some holes in this so that we can actually get some ink onto the plastic. Let's just see if these buttons actually do fit into these holes, because who knows, I may have printed it at the wrong size. Oh, perfect! Wow, it is a perfect fit. This is going to be absolutely no problem. All right, one hitbox layout. Time to trace it onto our $2 piece of plastic. It's literally a $2 piece of plastic board. In fact, it's at the current exchange rate, it's actually less than $2. So just drawing the circles in. Okay, let's see if it fits. Hey, that's good enough for me. All right, all we need to do now is drill about 11 holes into the plastic. This had better work. Hole number 1. Just double check this fits in. Absolutely perfect. All right, and last but not least, I need to get a 30mm drill bit to saw out this thumb button here in the middle. Plastic everywhere. Wow, okay. Time to see whether the 30mm button will actually fit in this hole here in the middle. If it doesn't, I'm gonna cry. Oh, perfect fit. Nice! I love when a haphazard plan comes together. Pull off the scraggly bits. Let's figure out where the buttons are gonna go first. All right, it's starting to look like a hitbox. It already feels the part. I thought because this plastic was really, really thin, I thought it would bend and break too easily, but I'm actually putting a lot of force into this and it's fine. Ha! Okay, well it pains me to do this, but I think I'm just gonna have to borrow some other gamer finger buttons from my other sticks. Alright, let's take a couple of these buttons out of the Victrix. And since you had to make a little sacrifice for us today, let's give you a bit of airtime on this video with that satisfying Victrix Pro FS click. That's a satisfying click. And as a bonus, it's a bloody good stick as well. I think I want it on the side of it like the Razer Pantera, because I quite like having the options button here. All right, let's drill. All right, this one is 16. Let's just double check if this is going to be the right size. And yes, I think this is going to be big enough for this. How about right here in the middle? Yay! And I think that's all the drilling that we need to do, so I can put the drill away finally. Let's just sort of force it through. Yeah! Alright, now the fun part. Let's put the buttons on. I'm gonna put one of these new ones, the clear ones here. I'm gonna have a clear and a black one on the side. But before we can put any more buttons in, I need to Dremel this down. It's button time. Fasten your seat belts. Highly recommend sleeve type buttons or screw type buttons, because these buttons will just work even if it's on a really super thin piece of plastic like this. Well, I already know that I want to have these pink buttons here, or light pink Sakura buttons here, for the main directions. But for the action buttons, what is it in Street Fighter? I think it's like the light buttons are blue and the medium buttons are yellow and the strong buttons are red, right? And then we'll just put greens at the end. I think that looks all right. I'm so happy with this. Sweet. All right, and all the buttons are in place. Whew, feels significantly heavier now. So if you haven't actually seen this before, it is a universal fighting board. You can see it's compatible with all of these consoles that you see listed here. And one of the nice things that makes this ideal for something like a hitbox is that it has this built-in SOCD cleaner. Now, explaining what SOCD actually is goes slightly beyond the scope of this video, but all you really need to know is that obviously on an arcade stick you can't press up and down at the same time, but on a hitbox you can easily press both at the same time. So we need these boards that can actually decide what to do when both up and down are pressed at the same time, and that's what this is, SOCD cleaner. Inside, when you buy a universal fighting board, you get this apparently. Oh, you also get the classic Brook stickers. Ooh, it's nice and, I was going to say hieroglyphics, not hieroglyphics, what's this? Hologrammatic. Hologrammatic, that's not a word. Pull this out of here. 4-in-1, universal. Some of them have headers on them and some of them don't, but I chose the one that has headers because it's going to be easier to plug in using the Brook cable kit. Now, since this stick is made of a plastic box, it probably doesn't need specific insulation, but normally when you put a PCB in a stick like this, you would set it on a surface or something so you can get little feet that prevent it from touching the surface of the stick. I happen to have one that I salvaged from a previous stick. It actually fits perfectly on here, but you don't need this. You can get cheap little plastic feet and it'll do the same thing. It'll just prevent the board from touching the inside of the plastic and shorting itself out, basically. I'm just going to use some tape for now. And last but not least, we need to actually plug it in. So normally you would only need this one. It's the fighting board cable, and it would plug in the buttons and a Sanwa or Seimitsu lever, whatever brand you're using, the lever and the buttons. But since we're going for a hitbox, we need a slightly different harness, and so we've got this. So open up this nice yellow baggie. And I believe this is the harness for the buttons. So if you are building your own stick, the really convenient thing about this one cable is that instead of plugging them all one by one into this blue thing here and making sure that you've got all the ground cables going into different places as well, you just plug all the buttons into this and then plug this one time into the board here. All right, I love that they've sectioned them all off with cable ties so that you know what each part is doing separately. So I had to go on the internet to figure out which of these cables actually plugs into which button, but I found a wiring diagram, and I also figured out how to use the hitbox cable. You actually plug this into this portion. You'll see that it comes with the ends that plug into the direction buttons over here, and you also get this 5-pin extension. And this extension actually plugs into what would normally plug into a standard lever, like so. And I'm gonna do the action buttons first. So I think the way that Brook does them is they say the kicks are kick 1, 2, 3, 4, and punch 1, 2, 3, 4. Orange is the shortest, yellow is the second shortest, and then after that it's green and then black. And that is the order in which that the buttons are gonna be plugged in. Now it's time to plug in the punch buttons. I imagine it goes blue, red, gray, and then purple. So that's all of the buttons connected, and now we just need to connect them all to ground. You don't really need to have a separate ground wire, each going to a separate ground place on the stick. Like, they all end up going to the same place, and so you can actually daisy chain ground wires like this. And that is 8 ground wires connected to 8 buttons. Let's plug in the hitbox harness. Link, start off. Up is orange, down is red, left is yellow. Hold on, lost my bearings. Left is this one. So the outermost one is yellow. And then that leaves the last colorful wire for right. And last but not least, we have 1 ground wire for each button. And before we plug in the harness into this 20-pin harness here, let's plug in the PS home button and the touchpad. Okay, so gray is the home button, which I'm going to be placing here at the top. Options button is the white one. And I believe this red one is the select button. And a ground wire for, uh-oh, the ground wires aren't going to reach. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use options and start using this cable over here. And then I'm hoping that all the ground wires are exactly the same. So I'm not using L3 and R3. I only need the touchpad key, which is the green one. I really hope this works. And last but not least, now it's time to plug in this 20-pin harness, which I believe goes right here. All right, I believe you plug it in something like this. All right, and that's in. Just bend these cables over forcefully. And I guess the last thing to do is to plug a USB cable in. Feed this USB cable in from the inside. All right. I've got no protection to prevent it from yanking the board out of the stick, but hopefully it won't break. The USB is plugged in, and there you have it. I think that is all there is to a controller. You have a PCB, a bunch of wires, and some buttons. So this is the moment of truth. This is actually the sellotape that held this thing together when I bought it. I'm gonna use the same sellotape to hold it closed. What have I done? I am very, very curious to see whether this actually functions. Time to boot up Street Fighter. All right, I wanted to capture this moment on the camera just in case it doesn't work. I've got the the $2 hitbox that I've just built. I've got my cable here. I'm just gonna plug this into the PlayStation, and we're gonna see whether it comes to life. Okay, so I'm ready to press my makeshift PS home button. Let's see. Oh my god. Okay, we've got as far as pressing the home button. Try circle. I don't believe it. Oh my god, it actually works. Hold on, headphone time. Everywhere I think about it, this shouldn't work, but it is working. All right, through some kind of miracle, this controller is actually controlling things. I can actually move around the menus using the direction buttons. So let's actually go into the game and see and test whether these action buttons actually function. I've never owned a hitbox. I've literally only ever done that one hitbox video when I was at Evo Japan. I haven't tried a hitbox since. And up is with my thumb. That is really weird. So here's the controller, and as you can see, I still haven't taken these plastic things off. I will take them off eventually, but for now, I think they look kind of cool. Obviously, when I start playing with the controller properly, I will take them off. But since we don't know which of these buttons are even functioning and which ones aren't, you know, who knows, they might be broken. Let's just make sure that everything's functioning first. All right, here we go. Let's try the options button. Yes, okay, options button works. Press cancel. Cancel does work. Let's press the share button. Nothing happened. Oh no, it does work. I've got it set to hold down. Okay, I forgot. Okay, so my share button does work, but I have to actually hold down the button before the menus come up. Now it's time to try out the action buttons. Okay, so left, right, down, jump, and let's try the punches. Light punch, medium punch, strong punch, light kick, medium kick, strong kick. Yes! Do I have these set to shortcuts? Yes, so this is my L1 button. And let's try my L2 button. Sweet. So we've got V skill over here. That means all the buttons function. All right. So we can now just mash buttons crazily. All right, now it's time to try out the standard stuff. Can we do a fireball? So to do a fireball, obviously I would do a quarter circle motion on a normal arcade stick, but on this one, I'd have to use my fingers like this. Sweet. No problem. And of course, I've played a little bit on Mixbox for a while, so I know vaguely how to do motion controls on a hitbox, but I am not used to jumping with my thumb, so I don't know how long that's going to take to get used to. So let's see if I can do a jump in. Whoa! Oh god, it feels so weird. Well, anyway, Shoryuken. Let's do a Shoryuken. Sweet, that's working just fine. These buttons are really small, by the way. Normally I play on 30mm buttons, but all these buttons are 24. So this is kind of weird for me. I guess instead of using my thumb to press my thumb and index finger to do throws, I'll probably just be using 2 fingers like this. That's weird. Yikes. How about Tatsumaki Senpukyak? Yay. I really think the weirdest thing for me is that normally I would want to jump forward by pressing up and jump, like this with 2 fingers, but instead I've got to press... What do I have to press? Oh, okay, I just press my thumb in a direction. I don't know if I can get used to this. Let me see if I can do a jump in, kick, and then a sweep. Oh, that is weird. I keep missing. Okay, I did it, but it wasn't a full combo. Let's try it again. All right, did it. I think I've got plastic in my mouth. What? Where did that come from? Oh, it's bouncing off the controller. Bits of plastic are bouncing off the... Oh, that's weird. How about a Shinku Hadoken? Super combos, no problem. I don't know which hand I should use for jump. Do I use my right thumb or do I use my left thumb? We are using the standard SOCD rules where pressing left and right at the same time causes him to stop, and pressing jump and down at the same time causes him to continuously jump. This is bizarre. Oh, interesting. Whoa! Okay, I think I also learned this at Evo Japan, but I can't remember it exactly. There's various ways to do, like, the Shoryuken, right? So normally you could do forward, down, down, forward, like I would normally do. But actually, now that I've got all of these extra buttons and SOCD stuff, I can just hold down, down, and forward, and then I can just tap back, which will set me into neutral. So I'll just go down, forward, tap back, and I go, that's crazy! Oh, man. I don't think I'm ready for this much power. Oh, I'm getting it now. Yes! SOCD shortcuts. This is the future of fighting games, everyone. That's nuts. Okay, time to do the... Okay, I need to do the thing that we learned with Guile. If you haven't seen the video from Evo Japan, that was the first time I was properly taught how to use a hitbox. They showed me a bunch of shortcuts, like one of the Shoryuken shortcuts that I just showed you in the dash shortcut. But one of the things that was really interesting to me was trying charge characters like Guile. So that's the last thing I'm going to try today. And then I think, to be quite honest, I think probably I need to do a live stream where I actually try and learn hitbox using using this makeshift $2 box that I bought from Daiso. I think it was something to do with a flash kick into a super. I can press the jump button and the kick with my right hand, like so. Did it! Okay. That's ridiculously fast. Getting used to it's going to take some time though. Well, there you have it. I can't believe that it actually worked. That's the $2 Daiso plastic box controller that I created today. Of course, the parts are not that cheap. This PCB itself costs like $95 to $100 on its own, but apparently all you need is some kind of plastic box for maybe $1 or $2, some buttons, a PCB, some cables, and if you drill all the holes in the right place, you've got yourself a running hitbox. Now, is it as nice as a real hitbox? Probably not. Is it as reliable as a real hitbox? Probably not. Is it as cool looking as a real hitbox? I mean, I think that's arguable. I think this is a pretty... So you get some street cred for running around with a $2 piece of plastic as your controller, which you still have to sellotape together, like I am. But in all honesty, this is probably not always going to be the cheapest way to make or to get your hands on a hitbox because of the fact that this does cost like $100. Then you've got to get the cables, which is going to cost you some number of dollars, plus these buttons. And these buttons that I've got here, they're like $5 or $6 to $7 per button, just because these are gamer finger buttons. Of course, you can get cheaper buttons as well. But then you factor in the need for power tools like this one or the Dremel that I had, and also these drill bits. And if you plan to make other controllers, then this is going to be super handy, of course, to have these tools lying around your house. But if you really just want to play fighting games and you're not interested in building something that might break on you in the middle of a tournament, you can probably just go and buy yourself a real hitbox. This was just an experiment because I just wanted to have some fun, and I've always wanted to build my own controller anyway. And it didn't even have to be a hitbox. I could have built a normal fight stick, but since I don't own a hitbox, may as well build something that I don't have. This has been hilariously good fun, and I can't believe I can't believe that it worked. So that's all I've got for you today. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Again, thank you very much to Brook for providing these materials for me so that I could actually build this controller. If you want the links, I'm gonna put them in the description box below where you can go and buy Brook products or find out more information about them. And if you're interested to hear about the official hitbox, I've actually made videos about the hitbox and the cross-up when they showed it to me at Evo Japan in 2020. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more wacky content like the video that you've just seen today. If you're not already, we've got a Discord where you can come and hang out and talk about controllers. We're often talking about building controllers and what parts you would need, or if you want to build the ultimate fight stick, what parts would you kind of put together and what kind of design would you put on it. People love to talk about it in Gear Chat on the NihongoGamer Discord. Links below. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next NihongoGamer video.